Here's Brody Brazil.
All right. So I almost titled this video, What to Expect When You're Expecting a 2021 NHL Season. Do you get that? Does everybody get that? First off, that deserves... Yeah, it deserves that. Okay, enough. It's a book intended for pregnancy and the birth of a child and raising a child for a mom and a dad, and yeah, what to expect when you're expecting like a baby. But here we are now expecting a hockey season, early 2021, and it just seems like today a lot of things came together between the NHL and the NHL Players Association. But there are some interesting facets of all of this. And first off, too, I mean, I know we're pointed towards January 13th. That is coming so rapidly at this point. Still a little bit hard to believe. But I think it would be a big mistake to put January 13th in ink yet or cement it in yet. We know how crazy the world's events have been. We know how difficult this is to pull off. So for those two reasons alone, the unpredictables of what's going on across North America and the world, and also, secondly, like I said, all the elements that the league has to take care of, if they need to push this back, I think even a week to January 20th, and even if they shaved some games off the 56 that they're trying to get to, I would not be terribly surprised. And I also think that they still have plenty of time to accomplish a lot of their goals. And that is to have a meaningful season and to keep everybody healthy and safe in the process, and potentially welcome in fans in certain markets, in certain situations by the end of the campaign. Now, look, here we are in California, and professional sports in Santa Clara County are still essentially banned. So let alone not being able to even play the games, you're so far away from even welcoming in fans. But I digress on that. Again, a lot remains to be seen on the aspect of how this season would play out. But we know they're shooting for 56 games. We know they want to start soon. We know that training camps for some teams are slated to go on December 31st. That really only gives them, 3 or 4 extra days? And the rest of the league is only going to have 10 days from January 3rd, when everybody else opens up, all the teams that were not in last year's playoffs, January 3rd to the 12th, and that's it. And then on the 13th, games are starting. So let me just go over some of the educated guesses that I have here for this season. Again, a lot of this is being hashed out, and realistically, I think until the last 24 hours or so, it wasn't even clear that the NHL could do the setup they wanted with 7 teams in a Canadian division, then maybe 8 and 8 for a West, a Central, and an East, or a Pacific, Atlantic, and Midwest. I don't know what they'd call it, but it wasn't even certain that, and it's still not even certain that they can play an all-Canadian division. It sounds like it is. It sounds like British Columbia, there was some holdup there. But really, I think the league has it so set that they want that Canadian division to happen. If the Canucks couldn't play in Van, they would figure out another way for them to be in Calgary or Edmonton or somewhere else. Maybe somewhere in Saskatchewan. Getting too far ahead. Anyway, long story short here, a couple things I want to go over. Series matchups. I truly believe that when the schedule comes out, it makes a lot of sense that instead of teams going from one city to another, or even having a homestand of just 2 or 3 games and then moving on. And all that travel you can cut down on and keep everybody safer and make this season more efficient. I'm definitely expecting that. And I have to say that you're also seeing here division isolation. I'll explain that momentarily. But on the top here, series matchups. I think they have to do it like baseball. Now, if you're thinking you might see the same opponents a lot of times, yes, you absolutely might. Because if you're thinking 56 games, and forget the Canadian division, which is only going to be 7 teams, but how about even like the one the Sharks will be in? 8 teams in a Pacific, which, by the way, would also include as far east as St. Louis and as far north as Minnesota, it sounds like. So not a traditional Pacific division by any means. This is just the way it has to be. I truly see them doing this like baseball. You're the Sharks. You fly down to Los Angeles to play the Kings for 3 games. Then you move on to Anaheim, or you go down to Arizona, or you go all the way out to St. Louis, or you hit up Colorado, something like that. It makes a lot more sense. And to be perfectly honest, I don't know that anybody's going to dislike this facet of a new schedule. I think that's kind of interesting. And is it going to be that way forever? Should it be that way forever? No. I really do like the fact that every team in the NHL plays every other team once at home and once on the road. I like that. You don't have to wait 3 years for West to meet East. But I really do think that this is the here and now, and you're going to see, the same division opponent probably, let me do the math here, 56 games, 8 times 7, is that 56? So there you go. About 7 or 8 times is how many times you're going to see one team. And you might see them in 2 series. Maybe you play 3, and then maybe 4 in a row, though. That's a lot. Maybe you see them 3 different times. And how would this work? That gets to my second point here, clusters of games. You kind of know how the American Hockey League works in their schedule. They play a lot of weekend games. They do not play a lot of weekday games. And I don't know if that's entirely possible here in the NHL, trying to pull off 56 and trying to get a full playoff slate in. I mean, they're already condensed enough. But I do think you're going to see a weekend heavy schedule when it does come out. And that's always typically how it's been, but especially so this time around, because that would also buy teams a little bit of insurance just in case there are setbacks, just in case there is a positive test or quarantining for good reason that needs to happen. And look, we understand, and I'll get to that point later on. We understand the domino effect, and I personally saw it happen in baseball, and I've heard a lot of stories about what it was really like to play through this past Major League Baseball season. Nobody's sitting here telling you that it was a lot of fun because there were a lot of extra details that needed to be tended to. There was also a lot of concern in the back of everybody's mind, and I know that's going to be the case when this NHL season rolls around. But going back to the point here, the domino effect of one game getting missed, then you have to make it up somehow. And then what happens if a team has to miss an entire week? Well, then all the opponents that they were supposed to play are also missing games. And now you're messing with the integrity of the season. And the reason I'm saying this is because if you can't have integrity of a season, why are you even doing this? Why are you even, establishing the risk if you can't pull it off like you hope to and want to? But I think they can, and I think they've calculated this decision. And again, I'm not saying they can't, but clusters of games would allow you to play on a Thursday, let's say, and then a Saturday and a Sunday, all right, against an opponent. And hypothetically, if there's something wrong, then maybe your next game is not until Thursday again. Or if you need to wait a couple days, you need to push a game back. All right, fine. The game you were supposed to play on Saturday, fine. Tuesday, you stay in Dallas, you stay in New Jersey, wherever. You stay in Toronto, if you were, Winnipeg. So that allows more flexibility, kind of more wiggle room, if you will, to have clusters of games to try and play a Thursday, Saturday, Sunday in a series and be done with it. Now, you may also have to mix in some weekday, weeknight stuff there too, but I really feel like the cluster is actually going to help out in flexibility and in scheduling. Division isolation. Now, baseball did this to, I don't know if they did this to be efficient or if they did this to be protective, but in all reality, it was one of the best things they did to not have. So they had the NL West and AL West play each other, the Central, AL and NL play each other, and then the East play each other. So essentially it was 3 huge bubbles, okay? And that's kind of what's happening here. It's going to be 4 different divisions, 1 in Canada, 3 across the United States. But it actually makes a lot of sense, geographically to do it this way, to cut down on travel, but it also, if you had, in the worst case scenario, and you do have to think this way, if you had some kind of outbreak with one team, or unfortunately greater than that, you could keep it in the West, maybe. You could keep it in the East. You could keep it in the Central or in Canada. The bottom line here is that you're not having an Eastern team visit the West Coast, vice versa, then cross a border. you see how quickly that could get messy. By the way, I'm talking so much here, and it's whatever, but I would do a little bit better if I felt like I was at the rink. Somebody needs to take a slap shot. You like that? I have not only the slap shot, but the bar. Watch this. You want somebody to skate up right next to me? Watch this. Whoa! All right. Too much fun with the sound effects, I know. So division isolation, it does make a lot of sense for travel, for safety. I would fully expect that. So series matchups, clusters of games, division isolation. And last but not least here, let me check the time. I always have an issue with this on the live stream. Yep, there we go. Already past 10 minutes. I said I was going to do 10. Here I am past it. I don't know how, and I don't know who's going to suffer from this. I think a lot of teams are going to be plagued by rough starts. Now, somebody's got to win these games. So are a couple teams going to be surprise starts? Yeah. Or will a couple really good teams actually get the launch out of the gate that you would expect from them? Sure, some are. But I think a lot of teams with 10 days of training camp, that's it. All these players have been training individually, but some of them have been restricted by where they're at, getting on the ice. I mean, it's one thing to run laps and to get leg strength going, but timing on skates, hand-eye, just getting your legs back, getting that compete level to a certain place. Now, everybody is facing the same odds, essentially. And I also want to say, for a team like San Jose that has not even played a meaningful game together, and what's going to be about 10 months, right? From mid-March to mid-January. It really is crazy that it's going to go that long. And I understand the circumstances, but I'm saying that am I worried from a strategic standpoint of the Sharks might struggle out of the gate? Yeah, but you know what? A lot of teams might. And so that kind of actually levels maybe the playing field. It throws an extra variable in there for everybody. But what I'm more concerned about with only 10 days of training camp and not even an exhibition game is that somebody could get hurt. And yeah, I know there's rust and I know there's going to be some struggles, and you're going to hear a lot of players talking about, just how off they feel and how it's not in sync yet. And, look, it's going to take them 20 games to get right. Well, guess what? 20 games into 56, you're more than a third of the way through. But I would really think that rough starts are going to be a part of this. I hope it's just rough starts in terms of performance, wins and losses, and nothing more. I hope this does not equate to a rash of injuries and starting up so quick and doing this in such an unconventional method. And that's honestly why. If you ask me right now, would you rather have January 13th and do 56, or would you take it a week later, the 20th, or even between the 20th and the 31st? I've been saying all along, you start in January, you'll be fine with a season that has a lot of meaning. You'll play enough games, and I think people will be happy just to have the sport back and just to have it done the right way. I do have some reservations about kickstarting it this fast, and players will do it. But I don't know that it's going to be in their best interest. I'm hoping that everything goes okay, and I hope I'm not. I hope I'm not jinxing anything here. I can't, because I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm just stating the obvious that it's a very quick startup, and so I would expect rough starts all the way around. And the last thing that you're not seeing here in terms of educated guesses for the season, let me just go generic. What to expect. The one thing I learned in covering baseball through the 60 games they played this past summer, mid-pandemic, and traveling like they were. And, this is the NHL jumping out of the bubble big time and for the first time. And what a lot of players said was that teams really needed to have accountability within. And you're going to not, want to see your teammate out of their hotel room. You're going to want everybody just playing it as safe and secure as possible. And I don't know, vaccines are starting to come out, and this is a real thing. And at some point, maybe we have to worry a lot less. Maybe. But at this point, and that's the other thing, through the course of this season, I hope a lot of things change. I hope our world changes. So the way this season starts and the way it finishes, which could be, mid to late July, mid-July with the Stanley Cup, if it all plays out well in the right way. But a lot's going to change. But for starters here, you're going to need teammates doing the right thing for their themselves, for their teammates, for the man right next to them, for their coaches, for the families of other players, for the rest of the league. Like I said, you think about having your team, and look at the Denver Broncos of the NFL a couple weeks ago. Had to play a game where they didn't even have a quarterback. I've been saying this. What happens if an NHL team shows up and it's the situation of, both of our goalies have been together. One has unfortunately tested positive. And now what are you going to do? You going to play a game with no goalies? And first off, the most important thing is, how is the person who tested positive? Are they okay? Are they going to be fine? Is everything fine there? But the next big thing is, what are you doing here? So, again, I really think all of this is going to be a Herculean effort to pull off. I think players are going to have to really follow the rules, and it's going to be a hard season, and they're going to probably not complain about it, but in reality, stuck in hotel rooms and not having a season like they're used to, having a season that's a lot more work than fun. All of this is definitely going to be the case, but just trying to, plot out here what to expect from a 2021 NHL season. I would love to know your comments. You can put those down below in the comments section here on YouTube. And before I go, gotta give you a couple quick reminders. Hit me up on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Also, check out the podcast. It's on Apple, Spotify, and Google Play. There's a lot of Oakland A's content on there right now. I've been busy talking to a lot of the players in their offseason, but a lot of Shark stuff too. When the season starts, I'll be cutting out podcasts on a pretty regular basis. I didn't use the GoPro camera at all during this, and now I'm regretting it. I forgot about it, I guess. See, I can go back and forth here at some point. There we go. We're there. And now we're gone. Thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your Friday night. And I got to say, this is pretty good news for the NHL. At first, I thought things were squared away. I mean, going back 2 months ago, I thought they'd be able to get it together. In the last couple weeks and month, it didn't always look good. At this point, though, it seems like the league is going to be able to do this the right way. Let's think about that. The most important thing is not only that they do this, but if they do it and when they do it the right way. And I'm pretty sure they will. All right, thanks for watching. I will see you next time. Be safe, everybody.